China holds rare summit with U.S. allied South Korea and Japan. Fire in Western India amusement park kills at least 27. Armenians demand the Prime Minister's resignation. 12 people injured when Qatar Airways plane hits turbulence. Papua New Guinea says landslide buried more than 2,000 people. Scientists make algae-based plastic that decomposes.
Hello, I'm Wade Lee. Thank you for joining us on Funday News. It is Tuesday, May 28th, and here are your top stories. China's premier agreed Monday to revive three-way cooperations with South Korea and Japan in the face of shared challenges, but issued a veiled rebuke against the two countries' expanding security cooperation with the United States. Chinese Premier Li Qiang met South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol and Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida in Seoul in their country's first trilateral meeting in more than 4 years. Many experts say just restarting the country's highest-level annual meeting and agreeing on the need to improve ties is a positive sign for cooperation among the three Northeast Asian neighbors, as they all face economic uncertainties caused by wars and instability around the world.
But how drastically their cooperation will be promoted is unknown, as the three countries have a range of long-running complex issues. In a joint news conference after the meeting, Li said China wants to cooperate with South Korea and Japan on economic issues, especially on supply chains and the restart of talks on a three-way free trade deal. Yoon said the three leaders agreed to promote people-to-people and cultural exchanges, establish safe supply chain networks, and work together to tackle shared environmental, health, and other issues. Kishida said the three countries share a big responsibility for regional peace and that Japan will chair the next round of the trilateral leaders meeting. On Monday, Li still didn't respond directly to the outside accusations against the Chinese actions in the South China Sea or surrounding Taiwan.
Police and media reports said a major fire broke out Saturday at an amusement park in Gujarat state in western India, killing at least 27 people, including several children. The fire erupted at the park in the city of Rajkot in Gujarat state. Police officers said that it was difficult to identify the bodies. They have detained the owner and the manager of the amusement park for questioning as they launch an investigation into the cause. The park is usually packed with families and children enjoying the school summer vacation over the weekend.
Footage showed firefighters clearing debris around collapsed tin roof structures that media reports said were used for bowling, go-karting, and trampoline attractions. The amusement park was privately owned by Yuvraj Singh Solanki, and Bhargava said that police would file a case of negligence against him. He said, "We will be registering an offense for negligence and the deaths which have occurred. Further investigation will take place once we complete the rescue operation." Prime Minister Narendra Modi wrote on X that he was extremely distressed by the fire. In Rajkot, "My thoughts are with all those who have lost their loved ones. Prayers for the injured." Fires are common in India, where builders and residents often flout building laws and safety codes.
Tens of thousands of demonstrators held a protest Sunday in the center of the capital of Armenia, calling for the resignation of Prime Minister Nikol Pashinyan, after Armenia agreed to hand over control of several border villages in Azerbaijan. The demonstration was the latest in a week-long series of gatherings led by a high-ranking cleric in the Armenian Apostolic Church, Archbishop of the Tavos Diocese in Armenia's northeast. He spearheaded the formation of a movement called Tavish for the homeland after Armenia in April agreed to cede control of 4 villages in the region to Azerbaijan.
Movement leaders told the rally Sunday that they support Galstanian becoming the next prime minister. The decision to turn over the villages in Tavish followed the lightning military campaign in September, in which Azerbaijan's military forced ethnic Armenian separatist authorities in the Karabakh region to capitulate. After Azerbaijan took full control of Karabakh, about 120,000 people fled the region, almost all of its ethnic Armenian population. Ethnic Armenian fighters backed by Armenian forces had taken control of Karabakh in 1994 at the end of a 6-year war. Azerbaijan regained some of the territory in fighting in 2020 that ended in an armistice that brought in a Russian peacekeeper force, which began withdrawing this year. Pashinyan has said Armenia needs to quickly define the border with Azerbaijan to avoid a new round of hostilities.
Airport authorities said 12 people were injured when a Qatar Airways plane flying from Doha to Dublin on Sunday hit turbulence, and 8 of the injured were hospitalized. Dublin Airport said in a statement that flight QR017, a Boeing 787 Dreamliner, landed safely as scheduled before 1 p.m. It said that upon landing, the aircraft was met by emergency services, including airport police and the fire and rescue department. Due to 6 passengers and 6 crew reporting injuries after the aircraft experienced turbulence while airborne over Turkey. The airport said all passengers were assessed for injuries aboard the plane and 8 were taken to hospital.
Qatar Airways said in a statement that a small number of passengers and crew sustained minor injuries in flight and are now receiving medical attention. It said the matter is now subject to an internal investigation. The incident comes 5 days after a British man died of a suspected heart attack and dozens of people were injured when a Singapore Airlines flight from London hit severe turbulence. While turbulence-related fatalities are rare, injuries have piled up over the years. Some meteorologists and aviation analysts note that reports of turbulence encounters also have been increasing and point to the potential impacts that climate change may have on flying conditions.
A Papua New Guinea government official has told the United Nations more than 2,000 people were believed to have been buried alive by Friday's landslide and has formally asked for international help. The government figure is roughly triple the United Nations estimate of 670 killed by the landslide in the South Pacific island nation's mountainous interior. The remains of only 6 people have been recovered so far. Estimates of the casualty have varied widely since the disaster occurred, and it was not immediately clear how officials arrived at the number of people affected.
The International Organization for Migration, which is working closely with the government and taking a leading role in the international response, has not changed its estimated death toll of 670 released on Sunday, pending new evidence. The death toll of 670 was based on calculations by Yambali village and Enga provincial officials that the landslide had buried more than 150 homes. The previous estimate had been 60 homes. The office of Papua New Guinea Prime Minister James Marape did not respond Monday to a request for an explanation of what the government estimate of 2,000 was based on. Marape has promised to release information about the scale of the destruction and loss of life when it becomes available. Determining the scale of the disaster is difficult because of challenging conditions on the ground, including the village's remote location.
Scientists may have found the answer to manufacturing plastic products that actually break down without forming into microplastic or tiny pieces of plastic that could linger for thousands of years. According to a study published in Scientific Reports earlier this year, researchers at the University of California, San Diego, and material company AI Genesis said they found a way to construct plastic with polyurethane. This bio-based polyurethane polymer could compost and break down in the natural environment, compared to typical petroleum-based plastic polymer, which typically are inaccessible to biological processing.
Burkhardt said the organisms that break down the bio-based plastic think the material is similar to leaves or wood that they would find in a normal compost. According to the research, the process, from manufacturing with algae-based materials to break down, is 100% renewable. The study shows that their plant-based polymers can biodegrade past the microplastic level in under 7 months. Examination of samples after 90 days of aerobic composting showed a 68% decrease in the number of particles. After 200 days, a 97% overall reduction from the starting count was observed. The researchers said the accumulation of microplastics in the natural environment is ultimately due to the chemical nature of widely used petroleum-based plastic polymers. Microplastics can take hundreds or thousands of years to break down completely.
The answer for yesterday is C, traumatized. He was so traumatized by the attack that he could not work for a year. Did you answer correctly? Now let's delve into the news of scientists make algae-based plastic that decomposes. Number 1, compost, 混合肥料, 堆肥. The compost is specially formulated for pot plants. Number 2, break something down, 分解. Over time, the protein in the eggshells break down into constituent amino acid. Number 3, inaccessible, 难以达到的，不可得到的. They lived in a remote area, inaccessible except by car. Next, we have a multiple choice question for everyone to practice. Which answer would you choose? You can write your answer in the comments section, and the correct answer will be announced tomorrow. And that's it for today's Funday News. Be sure to tune into Funday News from Monday to Friday and click the link below to join Funday for free. I'm Wei Li, your host. I'll see you next time.